Yo, what's up guys, Felix from Giant Lifestyle. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about smoking weed and being a successful entrepreneur. Do successful entrepreneurs smoke weed? Can you smoke weed and become successful? Let's talk about it. So me personally, I don't really care for smoking weed. Have I smoked weed? Yeah, dozens of times. And I really recall when I first did it, maybe the first 10 or 15 times when I was young, 15, 16, 17, 18, those were the best experiences and memories of smoking weed. I remember the first time I got high was at a basketball court with my friends, and I was literally dying of laughter all day. And it was like I was on cloud nine. But now I live in a high rise, I run businesses, I have real responsibilities. So for me to sit around and get stoned all day, one, I don't enjoy it. I could think of maybe the last 10 times I've smoked weed, which is probably spans over a few years because I really don't enjoy smoking weed. It makes me paranoid. I've had a few quote unquote good highs, but I just personally don't enjoy it. If I'm going to do something like that, I would rather have a drink, at a bar, or, sit down at a networking event and have a drink or a beer at a basketball game. I just personally don't enjoy getting stoned, but some people do. So whatever your, let's not say, whatever your vice is, then rock with it. But I would say if you're looking to become an entrepreneur, and depending on what stage of entrepreneurship you're at, whether you're at the bootstrap level, if you're really just trying to get your business off the ground, or whatever stage you're at, you really have to do stuff in moderation. Even me, where my businesses are successful and booming and have a lot of momentum, for me to just sit around and say I prefer to drink more than I were to smoke, for me to sit around and be slamming down a 6-pack or 12-pack every single day would really kill my momentum. It would make me feel lazy. It would make me feel hungover. I don't get hungover, but from the times I do drink versus the times that I'm sober, you are two different types of people. Now, some people will argue when it comes to smoking weed, oh, well, I'm smarter when I smoke weed, or I work better when I smoke weed. You may, but let's compare smoking weed versus being stone cold sober. So I heard a quote from Grant Cardone say one time that you take two people, right? One sober, one stoned out of his mind. And you imagine that they're racing, or imagine that they're driving a car. One person is driving perfect straight down the road. The other person is high, so they might be going slower or faster or swerving. So just imagine and relate that to being an entrepreneur, right? You can't operate at your full capacity if you're always high. Yes, you may come up with some better ideas. Yes, you may be partially focused, but I think it can really mess up you in certain situations. You don't want to go to a networking event super high. You don't want to be going and doing a presentation to some investors super high. You don't want to be messing up what you have going on because you need to get your fix. If you want to do it on a Friday night after you had a super successful week, that's fine. But I think you should do it in moderation, and you should do it to reward yourself. If it's something that you have to do because you need to do it, that could be an issue, and it could really mess up your success and what you're trying to accomplish. Me, I would hate to know that I need something to operate. When you're winning and you're successful and you're achieving what you want to do, you can get high on life. You don't need alcohol, you don't need drugs, you don't need any of that stuff. And I think it could be a very bad habit if you let it be a bad habit. But if you want to do it on the side, on the weekend, Joe Rogan, that Olympic swimmer, there are successful people that smoke weed, and I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I don't go out and party and I don't have a drink from time to time and hang out with friends. And I've smoked weed, but I personally don't care for it, man. It's just not my recreational drug of choice. But whatever you do, make sure you do it in moderation so it doesn't mess up what you do, what you got going on, what you're trying to accomplish, because it will definitely slow you down. And weed is definitely a drug. I know some people argue, well, weed isn't a drug. Anything that alters your state of mind is technically considered a drug. You can look it up on Google. So maybe coffee's a drug, maybe energy drinks are a drug, whatever you want to argue. But weed is definitely a drug. Will it kill you? Definitely not. I've done the research. You literally have to smoke like 20 pounds in 60 minutes, which is literally impossible. And even if you got close and say, hey, you smoked a pound in 60 minutes, you would probably just fall asleep from being stoned out of your mind. So it's not gonna hurt you, it's not gonna kill you. It could be a gateway, and you gotta really watch who you smoke weed with. Because I've noticed the most successful people, when I hang around super successful people, they don't smoke weed. They're, accomplishing goals, they're talking success, they're talking about how we can all become better versions of ourselves. So, sometimes I've noticed the people who smoke weed, it can kind of lead you to a social circle that isn't so heavily driven around success. And I'm not saying, every conversation has to be about money. Every conversation has to be about, how we're going to become successful. But I've noticed, especially I can think about kids I grew up with. They started with weed and they went to harder drugs. So you might want to talk about, is it a gateway? Who knows? Maybe it's not. I've smoked weed and I've never done any crazy harder drugs. But it could potentially maybe be a gateway to other harder drugs. But it's just, anything you do it in moderation and don't let it ruin what you're out here to accomplish and really trying to do, because you let weed take over your life. So like when I was younger, I could literally remember when I was maybe 16, 17, in the summer of 16 or 17, I was literally high every single day, all day. But I had a little job. I worked at the grocery store. I would take my check and buy a bunch of weed with my friends and smoke and have fun. But now I'm out here building businesses. I'm out here being successful. I'm out here traveling. I'm out here, taking care of my family. I'm out here doing what I got to do to make what I got to do really happen. I'm out here crushing it in life. So for me to sit around, smoke weed all day, I can't. I mean, even if I wanted to, I literally couldn't. And I could think, and I'm going to end the video on this note, the times that I've smoked weed in the past year or so, like it kills my whole day. Like I can't do anything. I would rather kick back and have a beer, get a 6-pack, drink a few beers, put them in the fridge and kind of use it as, a reward mechanism. But for me to smoke weed, because you just can't turn it off from my experience, with, if you have a beer or two, you could kind of feel as you're starting to get more and more drunk. But if you take a rip out of a bong, you might be so high that you can't even operate, and I can think of even crazier situations where I'm in public and I get paranoid, and it's just not a good look. But personally, can you be a successful entrepreneur and smoke weed? Yes, you can be successful and smoke it if you do it in moderation. Anything done in an excessive manner can be very detrimental to your success. So whatever you're trying to do, make sure you handle business when you have to handle business, and when your work day is done, enjoy yourself. If you want to go to the bar, if you want to go do whatever you got to do, but make sure you handle business. Don't jeopardize your success because you can't hold yourself in accountability to a certain amount of fun, right? You don't want to make a bunch of money and then you can't control your money because you're spending it on dumb stuff. You're spending cars, clothes, partying, stuff like that. So let's go wrap this video up. You could do it. Make sure you know when to control yourself, when to limit yourself so it doesn't exceed over a certain point in life. There you guys have it. Be sure to put a thumbs up on this video. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Do you guys smoke weed? Do you guys like it? Can you be productive on it? Me personally, if I'm smoking weed, I'm going to be on the couch sleeping and in my fridge, and I'm just going to be munching out all day long. But I remember when I was a kid and I smoked weed, it was like some of the best experiences ever. It was so funny, but it's just, I moved past that stage of my life. Again, thank you guys for watching. Put a thumbs up on it, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later. Peace.